strong to create that kind of joint work. But throughout all of our work in sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia, we think about the importance of women and how they are key contributors to agriculture. And so if you want to advance agricultural productivity, you have to make sure that women are included in the equation. And of course, you have to make sure that the farmer in general is included in the equation. You have to make sure that their voice is heard, is a part of choosing the right varieties, the right kind of characteristics, the understanding what it will take in order to incent them to adopt these kinds of farm management practices. Because as I mentioned earlier, if you want to be catalytic, what you have to do is you have to make sure that you understand how the market system will scale up and sustain these kinds of successful practices. And the last point I want to make in looking ahead has to do with partnership. And that's a very important part of this symposium. We have to figure out, especially in this tough environment, how we're going to get the most out of every dollar invested. So how do you bring together the research consortia, like the Consultative Group on International Agricultural Research? How do you bring together the governments, both in the developed world as well as in the developing world? The NGOs like Heifer and TechnoServe. The farmer groups that can help us hear the voice of the farmers in these countries. And the private sector. This is an example of where we are investing in building local capacity. We have a significant part of our agricultural work in AGRA, the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa, because it is led by Africans for the benefit of Africans. And so bringing together these partnerships is extremely important. But if we do this and we do this well, we can create the environment for success for all farmers. I reflect on another example. I was in Mozambique less than a year ago. I was there looking at some orange flesh sweet potato work, but also some International Rice Research Institute work. And I kind of snuck away from the speeches that were going on, and I talked to a couple of farmers on the side. And it was very interesting. Their plots of land were in the same area, actually adjacent with each other. And one set of farmers, representing about 50 hectares, were expecting a yield of about 1.5 tons to 2 tons of rice per hectare. And the other was expecting about 5 to 6 tons of rice per hectare, because they had a difference in how they were using irrigation, how they were using better inputs, both the varieties of rice and fertilizer. And it reminded me of what is possible if we can bridge this gap between the potential yield and the actual yield. And so what's incumbent upon us is how do we do our best work to create the environment for all farmers to be successful, which will lead to food security and prosperity. So thank you very much.